Well, good morning. It is the Rise and Grind morning show. It is the Tuesday edition. The Monday after has already expired. I think a lot of us have calmed down just a little bit.
Nope.
Then we started searching for tickets, Derek, and I'm booked and ready. Are you booked and ready? And I guess the real question is, are we really ready for what's about to take place this Sunday?
Man, good morning, Will.
Good morning.
It's been a crazy, crazy Monday. Spent all yesterday, the majority yesterday, bro, trying to book and get to San Francisco. But I'm happy to say I made it. I have to travel to Columbus, Ohio, fly out of there on Saturday to get to the San Jose airport. And then I'll be doing the same thing when we return. So I did get Upper Bowl. So it'll be very similar to Kansas City, man. I will be in attendance to cheer on our Detroit Lions, one game away from the Super Bowl, sir.
Well, I got lucky. I mean, of course, you spend a lot more than you want to. I mean, I got lucky. I'm in 205, row one. So I've got a sign being made right now at Office Depot. So look for the sign. We're going to try to make it on TV this time. I'm hoping we're close enough that we can actually do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be super exciting. Megan and I are going down. And for those of you that are watching or listening later, if you're going to the game and you want to get together and do a Lions, meetup, I don't know, how many super fans are going. I've tried to reach out to a few. I don't know really anyone who's going right now other than the people that have commented on my Facebook channels. But let's try to gather and do something, Saturday, or if we want to get together, for a breakfast on Sunday morning, and then roll right over to the stadium early. I say we do it. I say that we try to take over Niner Nation as much as we can and show them that, we travel well.
Yeah.
Derek, have you heard anything?
About what the super fans and such?
Yeah, anyone gathering?
You know what, man? I don't know. I know I saw Crack Man as we were walking out of the stadium, and as we're rejoicing about the Lions going to the NFC title game, he had a look on his face, Will, of I don't know if he can go, man, if he's going to be there. I think a lot of people gave it all they had to get to Ford Field last Sunday, and but I know that those of us who can go are going to be repping that Honolulu Blue, man, and getting down there and making sure that Bang Bang Niner gang is drowned out, man. So I expect to see a ton of blue. As a matter of fact, I'm going to probably stop by my local Fanatics or hit the Fanatics shop real quick and try to get something as quick as I can before Saturday. But I don't know, man. But I know those of us who go we're going to do the city proud, man, and hopefully bring back a Super Bowl berth.
Yeah, that would be incredible. I can't believe that we are one win away from a Super Bowl and 2 wins away from a parade in Detroit. I did see Crackman on the news yesterday. He mentioned that his birthday was Sunday, so the same day as the game, and he was trying to do everything last minute. So we'll see if he goes or not. So quick shout out to everybody in the chat: Rick Grit, the Wops, Southwest Lion 26, or should I say Southwest Lion 16. Rand McTrucker, Michael Jordan, King SJ, Black Mamba 313, JDC, and Josh Jackson. So, hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Rise and Grind morning show. First main topic we're going to discuss this morning is the addition of Zach Ertz. Derek did some videos on it a couple weeks ago and called it was a great fit to Detroit. So, Derek, why don't you talk to us a little bit about Zach Ertz and what this means for this team this weekend?
Hey, Will. So we needed this, man. Apparently, Brock Wright has a wrist injury. We were at the game, man, and it's hard to kind of it's such an immersive experience that it's hard to kind of focus in when somebody gets hurt. I didn't even know Brock was hurt. Then we find out later that he was, and with James Mitchell being hurt and Fursker being a tight end practice squad, we didn't have a choice. And I'm actually surprised they didn't make this move a little earlier with the injury to Sam Laporta. But I like this, man. Our tight end coach, it was Zach Ertz, tight end coach from Arizona. And Zach Ertz, he healthy, bro. He hasn't played in 3 months. I don't think it's going to take him that long. He's been playing football a long time. It's not going to take him that long to get acclimated with the system. Look, 2 or 3 catches. He's blocking. He can do that. I think that this is a good signing for the Detroit Lions and just tells you, man, that Brad Holmes is still looking out. I think I heard you say this yesterday in your video. He's still always trying to make this team better, even, with 2 games left in the season. So I like this. I don't know exactly what's wrong with Brock, though, but I'm glad that we were able to pick up Zach Ertz. And it just made me realize, Will, how big of a destination Detroit is going to be from, here forth, man. So I like this move. I'm interested to see what he's going to be able to include.
Think we just had a little bit of an audio issue with you there at the end. As far as I could read up on Brock Wright, he has some sort of a forearm injury. He's in a hard cast and sling, so his availability for this Sunday is going to be slim to none, or already out. And yeah, Zach Ertz, man, he brings a level to this game. And he's always been a fairly dependable tight end. He hasn't had a really good season since about 2018. But dare I say, has he really been on a great team that utilizes tight ends a whole lot like the Lions like to? So he's going to fit in nicely. He's going to hold down the blocking in the run game. If he's elevated, he should be elevated. I mean, we're very, very, very thin. We can't go into this game with one tight end. So I expect Zach Ertz to be elevated this Sunday. And I expect him to be active. Look, he's been around for, 10, 13 seasons, something like that.
Yeah.
He knows this game inside and out. Next up, let me get to some chat messages here. And I'll wind it back to the beginning here. The WAP says, here we go. Rick Grit says, looks like I'm on the wrong channel. Southwest Lion 26 says, good morning, all. Used to be Southwest Lion 16, but I got locked out of my account and had to open up another one. Well, welcome. I'm glad you could find us again there, Southwest Lion 26. Now used to be 16. Rand McTrucker says, good morning, guys. JDC says, am ready. Bring on the Niners. Michael Jordan says, how about them Cowboys?
Yeah, how about
it never gets old, does it?
Nope.
Josh Jackson says, let's go. Number one morning show. Appreciate it, my man. And King SJ says, glad you're able to make it to Frisco. Yeah, it was an interesting day. I couldn't believe that I found flights and a car for 3 days for $760 for two people. I mean, just insane deal. Not really the time I really wanted to fly in to San Jose, but man, it was slim pickings. I didn't want to have to drive from San Francisco down. Because who knows what that traffic's going to be like,
Yeah, well, it was tough, man. I mean, yesterday was probably one of the toughest things that I've had to do lately. And I've been seeing all these articles or videos from YouTube and Channel 7, Channel 4 about fans that's heading down to San Francisco and the how hard it was to get a ticket. So in order for me to go flying Southwest, had the greatest community in the Lions fan bases, in my opinion. We both do. But going to Columbus, I could get out of there. So 3 hours, that's right in my cusp wheel of driving. I would say between 3 and 5. The weather is supposed to be solid going down there. Going to park 3 or 4 days overnight, fly down there, man, and get ready to witness history, man. So it was tough, but I got it done. And with the help of the community, man, I'll be down there 6-0 in games I've been to this season, Will. So let's make it 7-0 and go to the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, so shout out to Tina Schaefer's. She says, good morning. I'm glad you're getting to go 7-0 +1. Go Lions. Yeah, I never really kept track of my record, but I think we spoke about it the other day. I've only been to one loss this season, and that was the Seattle game. So real early in the season, and I missed, I think, 1 or 2 games this season. So it's been fun in Detroit, man. It's a tough place to play for opponents. You coming into Ford Field, I think we've shown people now that you're not going to come in there and expect to win anymore, and that's the way it should be. You should be able to win at home. So next up, CJ Gardner. Does he watch tape? Well, apparently he does. He got off the day, early rocking. He got going with a pick right away. It was a tipped pass, but he was in the right position. So Baker Mayfield, I mean, look, you don't want to poke the bear, right? I mean, you don't stick a stick in a hornet's nest and expect to walk away without getting stung. CJ Gardner stung him. And he definitely watches tape. So maybe there's a little bit of trolling on CJ Gardner's behalf. Maybe there wasn't. What do you got to say on the subject?
Will. So I know that there was trolling because I don't know if you remember, but it's some issues between him and Debo Samuel as well. So that's going to be interesting to see if Debo gets to go. But I don't think there's. So it turns out that he said this stuff before the playoffs even started, and I don't know where they got this stuff from. They pulled it up, but hey, it worked out. Caused a little bit of drama. and CJ Gardner Johnson got the tip drill interception and ran it back. I didn't know what he was doing when he was running. I was like, "What are you doing, man? Are you going left? Are you going right? Are you going to go up?" But then he flips the ball to Baker Mayfield. Got away with a little bit of a taunting call there, but CJ Gardner Johnson, man, what an addition to have back. And I'm so glad that he was able to come back because, bro, I think as we're going and ending the season, this guy was the spark that we needed to help us get through, man. And I think about CJ Gardner Johnson being on those two teams, if I'm not mistaken, both times with the Saints. He was part of the Minneapolis Miracle, and he was also part of the push off as well against the Minnesota Vikings when Kyle Rudolph got a little, a little bit of a push off to send them advance them in the playoffs. So CJ Gardner Johnson, man, I'm you can tell he watches tape, but what an addition to have back, bro, to help this team and hopefully propel them all the way, man.
Yeah, like I said last week, when CJ Gardner gets going, when his motor just gets rolling, he's a tough guy to get one on. He's always going to be there in the fight. He's going to help his team win. Yeah, he's given up some big plays on the back end this season, but that was early in his, on his way back. It was like the first and second game. We're now into his third, upcoming to his fourth game. I expect him to have a huge showing in Levi Stadium this Sunday and be a big part of what will become the Detroit Lions win over the 49ers. We touched on some of the Lions injuries earlier. We already know that Brock Wright's out with a forearm. Apparently it's in a hard cast and a sling. But Jonah Jackson, I've got a report here on Jonah Jackson and read through some of it. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Jonah Jackson underwent surgery for a slight meniscus tear, and he is expected to miss this NFC Championship game against the San Francisco 49ers. On a positive note, though, if the Lions do win and advance to the Super Bowl, it is possible or likely that he will be able to return for game action in the Super Bowl. Given the fact that there's going to be, a week off, there's that bye between the last game and the Super Bowl. That will give him some more time to rest. And with, a slight meniscus tear, I assume they went in arthroscopically, cleaned it up, and he's going to have, some pain, some inflammation, but he should be able to get back, obviously with a brace, heavy tape job, and whatever else they're going to do. So there's a quote from Dan Campbell. He says, yeah, I thought Yodi, and that's Coyote Awosika, stepped up. That was good to see. He went right in there, and I think we had a 5-step drop first play out of the gate, and he just went in there and did a really good job. Yodi's continued to get better really over the last 2 years. He's just kind of grown and grown. And last time we played Tampa, he was in there for us. So, but I thought he had some really good things. Jonah and Brock Wright, we'll see. Doesn't look real good for next week, but we'll see. The one thing about Dan Campbell's quotes is they're very difficult to read because he switches talk paths so quickly. So
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah, well, I tell people about that all the time, man, because I read a lot of his quotes in my videos, and it's like, man, and let me just say this, man, and this and that, and so it's like, man, it's hard because is so different from how you would usually talk, but very difficult read, man. But I think you did a pretty good job, man.
But hey, shout out to Yodi, man. I wasn't very impressed with Yodi the last couple of seasons, but like Dan Campbell said, he really stepped up, and we really didn't notice much as far as more pressure coming through his side there on the left side of the line. So really good job, and that gives him a boost going into this game that he's going to have to start. He might share some snaps, but that he's probably going to be the one starting, and I feel more comfortable about him getting some game time, the week before instead of thrown in, to an NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
Lastly, on the injury list, go for it.
no, I don't know, man. He's pretty terrible to me, bro. So, this is unfortunate for our team because you know how you say there used to be a show. It was called I think it was the weakest link or something like that, or maybe the lady said that. But this is an offensive line that thrives when all five of them guys are together, and
Yep.
I'm kind of terrified of him being in there because I feel like he's that weakest link, man. That they're going, and we're going to talk more about that Thursday. But I'm a bit nervous. This is not the time that you want to have that weak link in an offensive line when I know that they're going to try to tee off against Jared Goff. So hopefully he can step up, man. And I mean, he's on this team for a reason, but we got guys that can step up and fill the role if need be. But I'm a little nervous, Will. I'm a little nervous, but I'm glad that Jonah is going to be able to essentially come back, when we win this game. I heard you say if, but that's 2 times now, man, that we've spoken this thing into existence. So I'm gonna say when we get this win, man. So
Yeah,
hopefully
I said what will be a Lions win.
oh,
I
okay.
hear you, man. I know. It's the whole theory of momentum and speaking it into existence. It's got to be there. Uh,
Universe.
that's right. So, lastly, on Frank Ragnow, he was rolled up on and he exited the game, but he came back in, and we spoke to his comments after the game. How he said he doesn't want to be a guy, and I'm paraphrasing here. He doesn't want to be a guy that gets paid and doesn't fulfill his obligation, which he feels is to the city.
Yeah.
And I just want to give a huge shout out to Frank Ragnow because you don't hear this very often from players. Now, I'm sure a lot of them feel that way, but they don't outwardly speak it a whole lot. And that's the difference between what Detroit is and what they mean to the city. And like Dan Campbell said, the kinship between the players and the city now and the fan base as a whole that's around the world. They feel like they owe something to us when they put pen to paper and they sign those contracts. They feel like it's worth something. It's not just getting paid, go through the motion, show up, do your job, go home. No, they feel obligated to give us something. And Frank Ragnow went back in that game on Sunday because he felt obligated to, and he knew that he could. He knew that he could go back in and play without further damaging his injury. So he's expected to play this Sunday. Doesn't mean that he won't be in a lot of pain. So huge shout out to Frank Ragnow for battling through it.
Yeah, he's always been like that, man. He's got the toe situation, and I think that's what makes Detroit so. I think that's why the new America's team, like we're starting to come up and win over the heart. We've been on a lot of primetime games, so America has gotten to see us. Outside of the one Peacock game, America have been able to see the entire playoff run. So they saw what happened last week, the grit, and I like the fact that like these players know what this means. They talk about it being a football town, a sports town. They know what it means, Will. They know how hungry we are. They know how desperate we are for this team to win. And I appreciate that about Frank, man. He was in pain, but he went and finished the job, bro. And he's always been like that. And it was good to see him. And I'm glad because we need Frank out there, man. Glasgow is, Frank is the guy. He was a first round pick for a reason. And I remember when we drafted, I'm like, who? Who? I was livid. Frank Ragnow, a center. I remember, bro, like literally exploding. And looking back, I mean, it was one of the few things that Bob Quinn did for this team that was right. So shout out to Frank, man. And I know he's a warrior. And these guys, you can see it, Will, the emotion from Taylor Decker, Frank, Jared Goff, everyone, man, they know what this means to the city, bro. And I appreciate them for that.
You know who wasn't surprised at the pick, and it's somebody that gets it, is my dad. When those picks are made, the Penei Sewells, the Frank Ragnows, he was always excited about the trenches. And I mean, I understand the game of football that you build through the trenches first when you want to build out a new team and you want to get solid there first because that's where the majority of the game is played. But I'm always looking for that Ferrari. I'm always looking for that next guy that's going to come in and do something exciting.
Yeah.
At the same time, I want to build the team the right way. So my dad, man, he's always loved those picks, and he's all about the trenches. So shout out to my dad this morning. Good morning, Dad. The biggest thing that I wanted to touch on this morning is some chat messages that I just saw. And it was Ranting Q says, do you think that we will give JMO more next game? So my quick answer on this is I sure hope so, because we're going to need some explosive plays versus the Niners.
Yep.
We know that the Niners possess the ability to be explosive both in the run game and in the pass game. So it would be interesting to see how much JMO gets involved in this game. But at the same time, he's really done a nice job in the run game and blocking downfield, which has opened up some lanes for Jahmyr Gibbs or Montgomery. So I think that his game plan is going to be fitting. I do hope that we're able to get him the ball downfield, though. I know Jared Goff tried a couple of times early in this last game, just didn't work out. So I guess that's my quick answer, Ranting Q. Go ahead, Derek. What do you want to say on that?
You know what, bro? I think we are. And the issue is going to be if Jared Goff has the time to especially when it comes deep. Now I know that JMO has been, some crossing patterns and stuff like that, and we tried to get him the ball. Bro, I have a feeling that he's going to be a big part of Sunday's game. Ben Johnson is going to find a way to get this guy involved. Haven't seen an end around from JMO in a few games. Um, we are going to get, him back and have him play. I think he's going to be a big part, man. I was talking to a San Francisco 49ers fan yesterday about the deep threat. And if we can hold that front four, uh, and let a play develop. I think what they're going to do, they're going to lean heavy on the run. We're going to talk more about this on Thursday, but the play action pass and they're going to get it going. But you know what? To go in line with that comment about JMO, somebody that we need back. And again, we got Thursday show to talk about this, but Khalif Raymond, bro, we miss him. We miss Khalif Raymond, and I hope that he can come back and go on Sunday because the punt game needs Khalif Raymond. We need him to return. So as far as Jameson Williams, man, I think we see a big player too, bro. It's been a minute, and I think he's going to get behind that secondary where they can be suspect, right? And we get a couple deep passes to him. So I expect JMO to have a game, but then I always say that, and then he doesn't. So, but I think this is the time, bro, that we see the playbook open up and Jameson Williams gets involved because we need that to happen.
All right, so everybody watching this morning, this is a new channel on Rocked On Syndicate on YouTube. So it's at Rocked On Syndicate. And right now we're multi-streaming on my two channels. I think we're going to get it set up on Derek's other channel maybe this week, but do us a favor and start subscribing to that channel because eventually this show's only going to be broadcast on that channel at Rocked On Syndicate. It'll help, with the YouTube algorithm and everything for us. So give us a like, send us some comments, as well as your chats. They're greatly appreciated. That helps our channel grow. And look for us, man, to continue to grow this morning show. It's something that we both enjoy, and we're going to do it all off season. There's going to be a lot of different content flying through this channel, and it's going to be exciting. So stick around.
PSA 300 over there, by the way, 300 subs, man. Congratulations. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you. Chris, this is a public service announcement from Chris. He says he was running behind on this. He says he went to Frisco years back for a Lions game. It was pretty ruthless. Be safe out there. So, yeah, I mean, it's a different environment. I've never been to Levi Stadium. I've never been to that part of California. Part of my search whenever I travel, I always look up, the crime rates and all that and try to find the safest place to stay. But I think you kind of get what you get in this situation, and you just got to be careful. So yeah, heads up on that. PSA from Chris. Thank you.
I'm not worried about it, bro. I say this, and I'm gonna say this. I'm not from the streets, but I'm from the hood, and I think I can handle myself pretty well. But they are kind of bang bang Niner game, bro. I know it's gonna be loud. I know they're gonna be antagonistic. That's what they do. But I appreciate that. But I think we'll be okay because I think we're gonna represent the city of Detroit pretty good. And if somebody loses, they're cool. We just how to walk away from that. But I think we'll be okay. But Will, I'm trying to stay within walking distance of the hotel of the stadium, man. I haven't booked it yet, but I got a place that I'm eyeing, and we'll go from there. But I think we'll be fine, man. But I appreciate the love and the concern.
Yeah. So shout out to Beth Stokes. Says Niners look vulnerable. Lions got a shot to win this game. And Superintendent Chalmers, man, you've got a good one in here. Says, I think Ertz was signed mainly to disclose information in regards to San Francisco's defensive scheme. Ertz was with Arizona for a few years. I mean, hey, that's an interesting take. Obviously, we need a tight end, but that is a good take that he's well versed on the San Francisco 49ers defense. And I mean, we are going up. One of your next comments there, Bosa, Young, Armstead, Hargrave. Yeah, it's going to be a test. The thing that I'm really not worried about, because Jonah Jackson is out, is this offensive line has gone up against some of the best all season long. That is the one thing that this schedule did for us, is it really battle tested this offensive line. I think that they're prepared for it. I just hope whoever's filling in at left guard is going to be prepared, because that's the favorite running lane for Montgomery, is right between Ragnow and Jonah. So that's what I'm worried about, which means this could be a heavier game for Gibbs, which is okay because I love outside zone.
I don't know, man. I kind of disagree with you with the line. I'm terrified because this when that link is broken, we've seen how that game goes, how those games go, and it's not the same. And Jonah to me is I know he's we were debating about whether or not we're gonna resign him or I know he wants a hefty contract coming up or that's what the rumors are, but I feel a little bit different, Will. I'm because Jared Goff, I'm just hoping that the scheme is quick. These plays are going to have to be quick for Jared Goff to have a place to go. I expect, and again, we got Thursday show to talk about it, which I'm excited for. But I think the I think it's going to be a lot of draw plays, a lot of delays, and we're gonna try to lean on the run to open up the pass. That's what I think is gonna happen because this front four is pretty solid. I mean, Chase was a late addition who's okay, but Bosa is the guy. But I talked about this, Will, yesterday, that Panay Sewell's first game it in the National Football League was against Nick Bosa. And there was something that he said after the game. He said, "This guy is going to be good." So, how you go up against one of the best to do it in your very first NFL game, and he gives you a compliment immediately. So, it's that other side I'm kind of worried about, man, with Taylor Decker and Chase Young. So, we'll see how that goes. But I think this is a potentially big blow to the Lions offensive line, Will. And I think that Ben Johnson right now has to be aware of that and scheme accordingly.
Yeah, I agree, man. And shout out to Brian Nightcamp. He says maybe get JMO on some quick slants and see if he can turn those into big gains. And
Absolutely.
that's exactly what our offense has been missing is some big explosive plays. We got a couple to Reynolds and Laporta, the past couple of games, but we need more. We need to get, I would say, 8 explosive plays out of this game, and I would be pretty excited that we have an opportunity to win if we can get that many. Few extra people that jumped in this morning. We've got Will Scott, Justin Bauman, mile marker 301, Lee 2, Bucky McBad Bat, Denzel Vance, Danny Painter. All good morning. And if I missed you guys, a Cryon or a Creon, I can't remember how to pronounce your name there. If I missed you guys, good morning. Welcome in. So next up, man, is a big topic. We spoke about it last week. We thought that this guy was going to get in and help this defense win, James Houston.
Mm.
So now he's going through another week of practice. He's on the 53-man roster, so we don't have to make any room. The question is he finally going to get to go? And here's my quick version. I know we'll talk more about it later, but the quick version is this. He's now getting another week. If he was almost there last week, there's got to be a reason why we held him out. And maybe Dan Campbell just didn't feel comfortable enough that he was ready to take on the Tampa Bay Bucks. But I don't know if you can't throw the kitchen sink at the 49ers because you have to. I think that James Houston helps this defense this weekend. I think that he gets in the game finally. I'm not saying he's going to get a ton of snaps, but we've seen it in James Houston first game as Detroit Lion. He only needed 5 snaps to get 2 sacks. So he can change the game in a hurry. I expect James Houston to make the game day roster on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, Will, at this point, man, we literally have 2 games left. This is it. This could be it. And you want the guy to be back in the game before a potential Super Bowl. Like you don't
Yeah.
want to just be like, "Hey, James, here you go. You ain't played since week 2. Here's the Super Bowl, right? Against the Ravens or Chiefs," which is funny because that's the last full game he got was against the Chiefs, right? So the I think, and you were right last week. You were like, "Hey, I don't think he's going to play, and if he does, he's not. How effective is he going to be?" Well, he was ineffective because he was not in the lineup, and I was disappointed to see that, man. But we wind up getting to Baker 4 times, and we won the game. But I feel like there is no tomorrow for James Houston. It has
Yeah.
to be now, or it has to be never. Like, get this guy, because then you're talking about a 2-week bye and then the Super Bowl. So if we're going to beat the 49ers, we have to pressure Brock Purdy, which we can do, but with the addition of Debo Samuel, so who's a lot like St. Brown, he does a little bit more in the run game though. So I think we got to have him. I think we got to have him, Will. And the one thing about this is we won't know until we're at the stadium. Like seriously, it, we could see questionable or whatever on the injury report on Friday, but we won't know until 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time whether he's playing or not. And I think we have to have him in there, bro. This is it. This is it.
Well, I think the same goes for Debo. We don't know if he's going to play or not this weekend. You know, he did avoid a fractured shoulder in the game, but there's still a potential for him to go this Sunday. And if he does go, I mean, that does totally change the game plan for the 49ers. Without Debo, I think that the Lions' odds raise. I really think that our odds at winning this game raises, and I think that Vegas wouldn't have a choice but to reduce, you know, the over under and everything else that's involved in this game. You know, all the betting odds, everything would have to be reduced, I would think. But
Well, you know what, Will? They're talking about he had the same injury earlier this year that kept him out 2 games. Obviously, he's going to try to play this game, but he's got to be careful because if he goes down, that could be big for the Niners. So, yeah, it's very tough whether or not he plays or not. But like you said, him not playing will change the game tremendously and give us an advantage as well.
So the next topic, and then we're going to kind of free flow it after this topic. We're going to be expecting you guys to get heavy in the chat, send us some things to talk about. But this next topic, it's been a hot topic for me all season. It's been a hot topic now for 3 years because this guy has done everything that I expected him to do. It's time to pay Jared Goff. I put this out, I don't know, back in April, I did a video with that. Here, let me put it up there again. This is the thumbnail. Pay the man, $50 million arm. Now, no, I'm not saying I want the Lions to go spend $50 million on Goff, but I think he's worth it based on, if you go back and watch the video, you can find it in the videos in this channel, Rockdown Podcast Network. I went through the whole, scenario of all the recent quarterbacks that just got deals. And if you can pay Derek Carr $40 million or more, right? If you can pay, what's the quarterback for the New York Giants, Jones? If you could pay him, $42 million or whatever he's making a year, do you honestly believe that Jared Goff is not worth more than that? And I think that the answer would be a resounding yes, he is. I mean, he's now going to an NFC title game. He's been here before. He's been to a Super Bowl before, just not with the Lions. And he's done nothing but improve this team the last 3 seasons. So I think that, he's definitely going to get his fair shake in a contract. I'm not real sold on the fact that he's going to take a, hometown discount. But then there's the other side of me that feels that Jared is more worried about proving the doubters wrong and wanting to win and make Detroit a winner. And I've said it before that your contract is not where you're going to make your money. Winning Super Bowls is where you're going to make your money long term, even though, who wouldn't want $40 million a year, right? But that is compounded 10 times over by, deals that he'll get, outside of football. So I think that he's going to get his extension. I know that there's been some talk about it, but this is something that I've been saying all season, that it would happen in the offseason. And I think he'll get at least a 2-year, if not 3-year extension at $45 million. And he'll probably get about 80% guaranteed to have the higher, guarantee in his contract, but the lower number overall. So we'll see where it goes. Derek, what do you feel about Jared Goff and the pending contract extension?
Hey, man, I feel it's about, I'm happy about it. One, because the fans can finally be quiet, and I love y'all, but at the same time, we don't appreciate what a quarterback is. I mean, and from the moment he was traded for in January of 2021, and it was blockbuster news, we have been trying, when I say we, I mean collectively, we've been trying to get rid of this guy. 2021, we're going to take a quarterback, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. 2022, Malik Willis, all of these other guys. 2023, here we go again. We take Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round, who has a 4-year contract, by the way, and is 3 years younger than Jared Goff. And all that whole time, Jared Goff is still here. And this regime has told you over and over and over that Goff, they value Goff much more than you do. And this guy has now won us our first NFC North title, 2 playoff games in 1 year, which is more than the Lions have had since 1957. Jared Goff has earned an extension. He will be here. I don't care if you want a quarterback who can move, he is going to be here. So get used to it. And I think he deserves it. But more than that, Will, not only does his play deserve an extension. And I haven't even touched with the money. If we pay him $45 million, that puts him like the sixth highest paid quarterback right now. So that's nothing compared to what these quarterbacks are making nowadays. That's a increase what he's making of almost 15. I think it's 13 to 14 million dollars. And I think he's earned every bit. And I don't think Jared Goff is in this for the money. He's set for life. And but he values where he's at. And he said he wants to be here. He wants to be here. And you know what, Will? That's who I want on this team. I want a guy on this team that wants to be here. When this regime put this team together, it was on purpose. It was strategic. Every person on this team was handpicked. They said that, right? And I've been pushing for anybody who can help the pass rush, but I'm not in charge of the team. They are. And every one of these players has been handpicked to be part of this team, right? So Jared Goff has earned every bit. Pay the man, and let's get this. The Lions aren't going to break the bank paying Jared Goff, right? He's going to be in the middle of the top 10 when he gets paid. It's going to be somewhere between 40 and 45. And I'm excited, man, because this guy, I have always believed in JG, bro. And I don't know why anybody wouldn't at this point. I think if you don't believe it, you just hate him. You just don't like him. And I think that's become clear, Will, that just some fans, they just don't like him, man, for whatever reason.
So I agree with all of that. I think that one, he's worth it, right? I think he's proven it. He's already done the LA experiment, and now he's in Detroit, and he loves it. He said that Dan Campbell was the best leader he's ever been around. I don't think that was just him throwing shade at McVay or any of the LA organization. I think he truly means it, and he believes in what's going on in Detroit, and he feels comfortable in Detroit. So, to some people's comments in here, Southwest Line 26, I'm going to start with you because this is exactly what I said in that video, too. The Tom Brady model. Tom Brady took very low cap incentive and cap dollars for almost 20 years of his career. He didn't get paid until he went to Tampa. And he did that, instinctively knowing that his brand deals outside of football and 10 times more than what he made on the field. So he did it also because you could, keep the players, you could go out and get more players. And then to that next point about being able to keep players, sign players, and get players, it's this simple. It's a percentage game, just like Southwest Lion is saying here. He says, follow the Tom Brady model. I think he took 12% of the salary cap in salary. Right now, Jared Goff is making roughly 12.1%. I think that's the number. Don't quote me exactly. I think he's making about 12% of the cap this year, and that's at like 32 million on the year based on the cap. I think is just under 200 million. Now the cap is supposed to raise 200 to up to 225 million this next season. So it's going up, 12.5% or whatever the number is, or 7.5%. Call it 25 million. So if you were to pay Jared from 32 to 45, his cap number only raises 1%. So over the grand scheme of things, you're barely moving the needle. And when you talk contracts in the NFL, it's all percentage game. It's not the number. It's the percentage on how much you're spending on per position, that player, the position overall. So you have to look at the percentages, throw away the number because it doesn't matter because financially it has to work. And that's why they have great, teams with the Detroit Lions, financial teams that understand all of this way more than any of us ever will. And we can't forget too that we've got void years that you can add to this to really slim down, what that cap hit's going to be over the next 3-4 seasons. You're going to be able to retain everybody. Now, at some point, it's all going to come to a head, right?
Yeah.
You got two choices: trade or another extension, and then you slim that margin again. I think the Lions work it out. Whatever the number ends up being, I'm not worried about it. They'll still be able to retain Brown if they want to retain St. Brown. They'll be able to pay Hutchinson and Sewell if they want to, keep those guys, and I expect that they do. So don't worry about the overall number. Just worry about that we have a quarterback that wants to win, that loves Detroit, that can win, has shown us and proved to us that he can win, and the guys love him. The team loves him. The coaches love him. I mean, next point, and Derek, I'm going to let you run with this one. Can he continue doing what he's doing with a new offensive coordinator?
Man, I am a little nervous about that, Will, simply because of what I've seen happen in the NFL. The Eagles lost their offensive coordinator. The Rams, they wind up losing their offensive coordinator, but I think they won. No, they won the Super Bowl before that. But I am a little bit where I know the Lions have a they have something in place. I mean, every team, they would be dumb not to have it. So I know they do. But there is an adjustment there. But I think that if we see a little drop off from JG, I don't think he's gonna revert back to year one of the Detroit Lions. I mean, because remember Ben Johnson, it does seem like his success is kind of linked to Ben, very close how it's linked to McVay, but I think that he's going to be fine because one thing that I believe is that his confidence is probably the highest has been in his career. Well, I do. It was like one of them things where it was high with the Rams in 2018. It started rough. It got just torn down, blindsided by a trade, and then the year that he had. And he said something too that I think this connects to football. He thinks he's a better man as well. So just the effect that being on the Detroit Lions has. So to answer your question, I think there might be a drop off, bro. I don't know because I don't know who this person's gonna be. He could be like Ben Johnson, where he just comes out of nowhere and he's like, well, who's Ben Johnson, right? Or it could be a little bit of drop off, but we have yet to see. Right now, man, I'm thinking about San Fran getting to the Super Bowl. We got all off season to figure out who's going to be calling plays for the Detroit Lions next year.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't remember who the coordinator is that's training, or not the coordinator, the coach that's training under Ben Johnson. But I also want to remind you guys, and then I'm going to move off of this coordinator thing, is Dan Campbell was the one calling plays for like the first year and a half. He was pretty much our offensive coordinator as a head coach calling plays. When Ben Johnson was given the job, why can't I remember our first offensive coordinator's name right now? Anthony Lynn, right?
Yeah.
So when Anthony Lynn was let go, Campbell was still calling plays last year through about halfway through the season. And that was per some reports. I don't know that specifically from Dan Campbell, but that was per some reports that I read this year. So if that's the case, I'm not worried because Dan Campbell can resume that role, and Dan Campbell knows this offense inside and out. And I think that Jared Goff is going to be fine because a lot of the plays that we see that we're using, he brought over from LA anyway. A lot of this is Jared Goff's playbook. And one of the first conversations that I remember between Dan Campbell and Jared Goff that was publicized was, we're going to institute or install plays that Jared Goff loves. This offense is going to be built around him, not so much what we want to do as a team, but what he does well. And that's what we've seen, and we've excelled at it. So I think it's fitting that no matter who becomes our next offensive coordinator, I think that this offense is still going to do really well. And I think that Jared Goff is going to do really, really, really well. All right. So next up in the chat, let me get back to some messages here. To answer you guys' question, I'll be in section 205, row 1 at Levi.
And I will be in 421 up there with the clouds, man. But I'm gonna be there. And it was just like Kansas City. It wasn't really that bad. You can see everything. And the screens at Levi Stadium are ridiculous. So I don't think I'm gonna have a bad seat in an NFC championship game. Man, I could be literally like on the scoreboard and I wouldn't care. So that's where I'm gonna be, man. They got one section that's in the forest, and I'll be in there.
All right, so send us your questions to comment on the last subject here. Denzel Vance says, well, the difference between Jared in LA and Detroit, he has more control of the offense, and Ben Johnson not in his ear like McVay was. That's a good point. The Goat 23, welcome. I haven't seen that name before. And Tragan Kier Studios, that looks like a new name too. Welcome. Good morning. So the Goat 23 says, does Scotty Montgomery have coordinator experience? That one I'm not real sure of. I wouldn't be surprised if he's called offensive plays. I think he was with North Carolina before coming to Detroit, and he might have been an offensive coordinator there. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I did see Steve in the chat, man. And I wanted to send a special thank you to Steve, man. Steve is the community came together, man, like Captain Planet, and they all came together and got me to this game. Steve transferred me some Southwest points, and that's another reason it was so hard for me to get out of the fly from DTW because it had to be Southwest. He transferred me 50,000 points, man, for me that he said he wasn't going to use, and I used them, and I that helped me, bro, get to um San Francisco. So thank you to Steve and the community, man. This Lions community, Will, and I know you're kind of new to this. Been about a year or so for you. We do have a great community, bro, and I think they're showing out with supporting this show in the morning. But thank you, Steve, and everyone else, man, to help get me there. I appreciate you.
So Steve says 49ers are beatable. Let's go. And good morning, Steve. Yeah, 22 years of season tickets, man. And I never thought of starting a YouTube until last year. Go figure. I had all that time during COVID,
Yeah.
to sit home and figure out what was next.
Yep.
And I didn't do this. I should have, because you're right, man. The people here, the community surrounding the fans of Detroit, doesn't matter what sport it is. You guys are epic. You really are. You're truly the best part of what we do, and we wouldn't do what we do without you. So pat every single one of yourselves on the back, because you guys are the best part of Detroit sports, and good people. I mean,
Yeah.
look, there's some great people that we're getting to meet. So I'm going to say it again. If you guys are going to the game, or if you live out in the area and you want to get together on Saturday night, I know I won't get into the Santa Clara area till about 10 o'clock ish p.m. But if you guys want to get together for a breakfast on Sunday morning and then transition to the stadium early, I will be in the blue one lot, which is the largest lot right there in front of Great America and in front of Levi Stadium. I couldn't believe parking. I mean, it was anywhere from $150 to $1,100 to park.
Wow.
So insane. They're definitely making, $30 million just off parking at this event. Um, it's going to be an epic showing, but I chose the blue lot for one reason and one reason only, and I don't think I even need to say what it is. I
Uh,
feel the Honolulu blue vibes, man. I got to be in the blue lot. So since
well,
I'm gonna be in row one, here's my question: should I dress up in any way? Megan asked me last night, do I want to go as a character? And I've been trying to develop my super fan character for the last 3-4 months, so that when I finally make it to that level, I've identified a character. And I don't have one yet. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I got an idea, but I just don't know. I got two ideas actually. So I know, Derek, you're going to be going all blue, right? You're gonna blue everything out.
yeah. So I'm doing the. I'm actually gonna wear the beard during the travel. So I will be Honolulu blue. They're like putting Smurf. They're calling me a Smurf, so maybe I'll try to add that in. But yeah, I'm gonna rock the beard the entire travel day to and from San Francisco. So I'm working on mine as well too, Will. But I'm eager to see what you got in store, man.
All right, so I'll give you a little hint. There's two ways I'm going about this. Either I'm going to be some sort of the villain, the Honolulu Blue villain, or I'm going to do like what we're doing here, and I'm going to go as some sort of like the Lions podcaster, or like I don't know, like I'll go like as a blue microphone. I don't know yet.
Wait, this
Those
is
are the two
all
ideas.
like
Like those,
Sunday?
no,
Oh, I'm
I don't think I'm going to be able to
sick.
pull those off. I'll get a custom costume made. I think that when it's finally come, which will be next season, I'll have a custom costume made, so that it can be something, every week in, week out. And
Yeah.
don't worry, you guys will see it first, because when it's ready, it's going to be shown here first. But for this weekend, I don't know. I mean, I have my mask. Um, I've got, all sorts of gear to wear. I'm not real sure yet, but either way, it's going to be fun. I will have a sign out. It'll say Rocked On Podcast Network, like Lions Podcast, so the big QR code. It'll be 3 feet by 2 feet. And we're going to try to get it on air. And then on the backside, it'll say something different, probably for the Rise and Grind morning show. So we'll see what it looks like today, man. If they do a good job, I'll get the other one ordered today.
Yeah, I'm excited, Will. I'm excited, man, because in enemy territory, and I know I was talking to you about road games, man, and I'm getting like Kansas City vibes. I remember I'm there, and
Oh, Father, that's great, Brian.
I'm there, man, and it was something that so I started having flashbacks of Kansas City. And Kansas City, I'm up on the third level, and I had heard how loud Arrowhead was. So I tried to give me some earbuds. In the meantime, I couldn't get there. So I'm on the third level. I'm all the way up in row 30. They had to have, I think, 40 rows, probably. I'm in row 30, and it is loud. I mean, it's open air, just like Levi. and it's loud, man. And I remember as my team is on the field, that's when obviously the crowd is the loudest. And it's just something, man, about deafening noise and you're like just zoned in on your team. So bro, it was like I was coaching on the sidelines. I had my hands on my thighs. I'm squatting down, man, like I'm Dan Campbell on the sidelines where everybody else is yelling around me. And I'm getting those vibes again, man, just locked in on the team. And I'm hoping I can bring the same vibes to this game here, man. I can't believe like this is a reality.
Yeah, it's insane. I want to bring this up because I have not watched a ton of San Francisco. I plan on diving deep starting today on watching a lot of games so that I can be ready for Thursday and Friday's show. But Brock Purdy, Ed W says Purdy is the last non-mobile quarterback, so I see us winning. What scares me is the next game. So my question to you, Derek, and I guess it's benign of me not to know this, but I thought that Brock Purdy had some feet underneath him. Like he is able to move a lot better than what Goff can, for sure. But I mean, I don't see him as a Jalen Hurts or, Lamar Jackson. But I guess I could put him in a little bit under Mahomes. I mean, Mahomes is not to their level yet either. But where do you see Brock Purdy as being a mobile quarterback?
Yeah. Okay. So I think he is, like you said, everything you said, where I think he is mobile. I think he can avoid situations with his legs, but he doesn't necessarily create plays with his legs.
Better
So
or worse than Mayfield?
I think he's the same. I think he's the same,
So he
or a
can hurt
little.
us.
Yeah. He can. He can't hurt us with his legs, that's for sure, by escaping. He's not going to run anything. He might run or two. That's not he's going to avoid a sack and get a big play downfield because of busted coverage. That's what's going to happen. That's as mobile as he'll get.
And I guess that's kind of where I thought too, is he was probably to the level of Mayfield. So Will Scott, I do have a few Facebook pages and Facebook groups. So you can search up Rock Down Detroit Lions. That's the main Facebook page. It has about, I don't know, 2,800 followers on it. And then I have a private group that's the number one Detroit Lions group. There's about 16,000 in that group. So those are two Facebook pages that you could follow. Derek, I don't know. Are you on Facebook a whole lot?
I'm not on Facebook, man. I
Derek's got a
should
Twitter
be.
though.
Yeah, I should be. I know, but I just, man, Facebook just doesn't do it for me. So if I get on Facebook, it's to promote. Like it's hard for me to be on Facebook, but not yet. But I might get back on.
So True Light says, I'm not following this statement here, but 45,320,841 Lions salary cap next year. I'm not sure what this means. The Lions should have close to 70 million in salary cap available next year after the increase of the new league year. I think that could be their base rate right there that they have available right now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
So Michael Jordan says Turdy Purdy can't handle pressure.
that's funny. That's funny.
He did have a rough game this last game. He was not looking good. He was getting pressure that he couldn't handle. And quite honestly, I'm still bummed that the Packers couldn't pull out that game and give us a third home game. But at the same time, man, we're about to go make history. And I'm about to make, some new memories with Megan and traveling to Levi Stadium, a stadium I've never been to, a part of California I've never been to. And I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to this experience with all the Lions fans from around the world and doing something that I never thought was going to happen. Like I never thought that we'd really be here. Did I think that 2024 would have been our year? I did. Only because we are finally going to get that fourth draft and the draft is at home and we finally have this core nucleus for a team. But man, Derek, you were right about something. Why did Brad Holmes not see that we were ready? And he didn't go out and make that move at the trade deadline to find us a few players, right? Or did Brad Holmes know we were ready and he trusted who we had? I think those are the only two questions, of Brad Holmes that you could have right now is, did he see this? Did he know that we were ready? Or did he not think we were ready and he missed the boat? Where are you at on that question?
That's a good question, man. I was actually thinking to myself last night about that very same thing. I think he attempted to make us better at the trade deadline, but one thing we know about our general manager is that he knows how he has a very particular set of skills, and that is not spending money, right? And I think as they talked about how each member of this team has been handpicked for a reason. I think he tried to. But one thing I said, Will, and I like that, where we are, is I don't think we're overachieving at all. I know that you were saying slightly ahead of schedule, half a season.
Yep.
And one thing that I like about this team, and I think Lions fans are with now, they're here now, is it was, oh, just win the division. Oh, just get a playoff game. And now we have two. And I tell you what, anybody that's saying that they're satisfied with the season. Now, being proud of the team is one thing, which I will be. Win or lose, I'm going to be there to support our guys on this journey. But all of that whole let's take this thing, bro. We're right there. When the season started, you didn't think we were gonna be NFC title game. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, take advantage of the situation. Let's leave nothing on the table because I can tell you one thing, Will, there is no guarantee. Look at what happened to the Philadelphia Eagles. And if we lose our offensive coordinator, I'm not saying we will, but we could have a similar path of just where things are not looking right. I personally believe the team will be even better than it is this year with the draft, free agency. This is the most Brad Holmes's hands will not have be tied anymore. Like he finally has dug himself out of the Matt Patricia Bob Quinn hole. And now we are probably going to have the best team that we've seen in the last 30 years coming up in 2024. But it's not over yet. And I say, let's get this. I don't care, bro, if it's 1 point win. Let's get this win. Let's do something that we've never done. And I don't know about you, Will, but it's going to be a long week, bro. It really is because sometimes I was at a time machine, I could go. But one thing about not having a time machine and not being able to see the future is the anticipation is unmatched for this game, knowing that we are 60 minutes away from literally making history. We will disappear, Will, from one of the teams that have never been to a Super Bowl.
I think it's incredible. You know, a lot of people wanted the Buffalo Bills in there too for that very, exact reason that if you had the Lions and the Bills in there, you'd have two teams that have never been there, and one of them was going to come out a winner no matter
Yep.
what.
Yep.
And look, I was in the boat of the very beginning of the season. I put out my prediction: we'd be 12-5, we'd win the division. I was happy with that, knowing that we were going to go to the playoffs. Getting a playoff win, I would have been elated. But now that we have two, we have to go all the way. Like
Yep.
there is just no other answer right now than take care of business, finish the job. Yes, we have a highly suspect defense at times, but we have one of the most explosive offenses. And if you remember one of the shows or videos that I did, it might have been a show we were on together where I was talking about, I think we both were talking about the defense and the offense, how if you look back at the Super Bowl winners, you need a top five offense. Most years, a top five offense wins. The best offense usually wins. And you need about a top 10 defense. Sometimes a top 15 defense makes it all the way and wins the Super Bowl. The Lions right now are top 5 offense, top 15 defense. So we are there. Now, I haven't checked the most recent defensive marks this week. So I don't know where we've moved up and down in those rankings. But I would agree, and I would say that we are a top 15. I wish Andy was right and that we would have a top 10 defense this year, because if we did, I think the Super Bowl probably would have been in the bag. Not to look ahead, but I also feel that this 49ers team is suspect. We have an opportunity to win this game. It's going to be our Achilles heel that has to win, and that's pressure. And that's the defensive line has got to get the right kind of pressure. I'm not talking pressure. I'm talking pressure for TFLs, pressure for sacks, pressure for deflections. This defense needs to step up again. They played great last game. They need to step up again and go even further. So we're going to wrap up this hour of the Rise and Grind Morning Show. I appreciate everyone that's been in the chat. Do us a favor and like like the show this morning, go to @RockdownSyndicate and subscribe so you can see the future episodes. We're only going to be going till, probably just after the Super Bowl, multi-streaming on a few different channels, and then it's going to be solely on the new channel, which will help us grow organically and do everything with the algorithm. So I appreciate everyone that's joined us this morning. Huge turnout, man. Over 150 people have joined our show this morning, and it's only been going now for 2 weeks. So this has been an epic show this morning with all of your help. I sent out my email in the live stream chat here, and if you guys are going, just email me. I should have put in there, Will Scott. I'll say it for you. It's info@rockedonpodcastnetwork.com. I know it's a long one, but if you email me there, we'll get everything scheduled. I'm going to drop a video. I'm sure Derek will drop a video. We'll start planning some stuff for people to join up at the game if you're going to Levi Stadium. Derek, send these people away this morning with some hope.
All the pressure on me, huh?
Yep.
Man, it's been a great ride, and it feels weird, Will, to be talking about more football. Like it took me a while to realize the Super Bowl is February 11th, and free agency is literally like a month after that. And we're usually talking about free agency or the draft or Mel Kiper's mock draft, and we are still playing football. We're not done. So the hope that I'm going to give you is this team has fought. And one thing Dan Campbell said, this team is going to take on the identity of this city. And that's exactly what they're doing. And we're going to talk in detail about it on Thursday, the show at 8:30 about the matchups. But I think the Detroit Lions here's the hope. They went into Kansas City underdogs and they shocked the world. There is the same situation here. And I expect them to do the same thing. So have a great 2 days. And thank you for repping the show. Subscribe to the channel because we are up and coming and only going to get better from here. Thank you guys and have a great morning.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Take care. We'll see you Thursday. Go Lions.